In this video, we're going to learn how to make pumpkin pie. So before you start making your pumpkin pie, you need to, I'll cut off the tops and the bottoms of these, and these are just small pumpkins. I haven't got the large ones out yet. So there's 3 pumpkins here I'm using. I might end up being short of pumpkin filling because maybe I might need more than this, but we'll find out. I might just make a small pie anyway. Chop your pumpkins in half, chop off the tops and bottoms, and scoop out all the seeds. Heat up your oven to 200 degrees Celsius. I'm just going to spray these with a little oil because I'm going to roast them in the oven for 40 minutes. So I'm just going to turn them over. And then while you're in the oven, you can prepare your pastry. So I've got this glass pie dish here, and if I flatten these sides out, I'm probably going to need it to be rolled out to this length. If I was making my own pastry, I have bought some shop bought pastry. So I'm just gonna join them together basically. So I've just greased the inside of this dish, and I'm just going to sort of put it in. See, some of it's breaking up. It's very thin, the pastry, so it's breaking up a bit. And then I'll just use the other one to patch the other side up. So they just come in a box like this. This is a ready rolled Sainsbury's short crust pastry. If you want to make your own, you can do that. It's just quicker doing it like buying a shop bought pastry. I can make pastry, but I'm just doing this for speed today. Now, pumpkin pies are not something we usually make in the UK. In America, you can buy pumpkin pie filling because I know it's something that Americans eat on Thanksgiving. We don't have a Thanksgiving. We have pumpkins mainly for Halloween. And we don't normally use them for anything else. I don't think there's many people cook with pumpkins, to be fair. Nobody I know. And this is the first time I've made a pumpkin pie. So I hope it turns out alright, considering I'm making a video about it. So I can just squash that so it joins. I might just tear a bit of this pastry off the side and squash it onto that bit that looks a bit thin. And there's another delicate bit down here. I'm just going to squash it in. Now with this edge, I'm just going to sort of roll it underneath like that, sort of, so we get like a crust around the edge, like a solid crust around the edge. Tear it off if it's too much. Just want to make sure it's in there. in the dish really, and it's lined against the sides. Because the sides of the dish has got a nice fluted edge, and when we take the pie out of the dish, I wanted to keep that fluted edge, so I'm squashing it against the side, so we get that fluted edge when it's cooked. This is turning a little bit. I think I'm going to add a bit more pastry to this bit. I hope there's no Americans watching, because I know your pumpkin pies, you've been doing them for years, and you're probably looking at me thinking, what is she doing? But right, so we'll have to try and make a pattern around this edge. So I'm just going to squash my two fingers together like that. So we have a bit sticking out, and try to do it evenly around. Now, there's a chance I could sort of collapse a bit. I don't know. Because I've got it a bit high up on the bowl. There's a chance it could collapse a bit. Right, so we have to bake it blind, but I'm going to put it in the fridge for now until we get the pumpkins out of the oven. So they've been in the oven for 40 minutes, so I just need now just to get the skin off, and it's really soft as butter now when you just try to cut through it. So the skin will peel off easily now. Still a bit hot. So once you've peeled all the skin off, you can then cut it up and you can put it in a blender. If you can buy the tinned pumpkin and you prefer to do that than go through the hassle of doing all of this, then by all means you can buy your tinned pumpkin. So before I bake this blind, I'm just going to prick the bottom just to stop it rising in the oven. Just basically put on probably best if I fold it again. And then hold the bacon beans in. Right, so I'm going to bake this blind in the oven for about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to chop this up, and it's going to go in the blender and see how soft it is. So now we've got a puree of the pumpkin. Need to mix it with some other ingredients now before we put it in the pie. So you can see some water in the bottom there, so I don't want any of that water in the pudding. So what I'm going to do is I've got this mesh bag. You can get these for nut milk, making nut milk with. And I'm just going to put the contents into this bag. Right. And then you can pull the drawstring. Just going to squeeze it. See all the liquid coming out? We do want some moisture left in it. So I'm just going to empty this out. So it looks like it's reduced a lot in volume, and that's because a lot of the water is gone on it. So that's got 200 mils of cream in there now. It's got a very pale colour. So in here I've got 3 eggs, 3 large eggs. And I'm just going to add that to it. add 150 grams of caster sugar. And I'm going to add half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Half a teaspoon of salt. Right, so that's now ready to go into the pie crust. So here's the pie crust out of the oven. I blind baked it for 15 minutes with the ceramic beads, the bacon beans in there, and then I'll put it back in for another 10 minutes without the bacon beans in there. It's still a little bit damp in places, but it should be alright. So I'm now just going to pour the filling into the pie. Get a spoon. So I'm going to put this in a 200 degree oven for 10 minutes. A little bit of something on there. In the oven for 200 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it down to 160 degrees and leave it in for another 30 minutes. If the crust, I'll keep an eye on the crust. If the crust starts to go too brown, I'll put some tin foil around the crust to stop it from going too brown. So here it is out of the oven. I'm not sure if I've left it in a bit too long. It looks like it's a little bit scorched on the top, but it smells delicious. So there it is, my very first pumpkin pie. So I'm just going to let it cool down now before I try some with some cream on the top. I think I might have made the crust a bit too thick and heavy, but I think it looks about right, and it tastes delicious. So that is my first attempt at making pumpkin pie. Well, I can now understand why pumpkin pie is so popular, especially over the Thanksgiving period. It is delicious. I love the flavour of the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the cream, the pumpkins and the eggs all mixed together. It's just such a lovely flavour that I've never actually tasted before. It does feel like a Christmassy type of dessert because of the cinnamon, and you could actually serve this anytime, during the pumpkin season. A little dollop of cream on the top will make it that much tastier. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope just go out there and have a go doing it yourself. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, bye for now.